Hey everyone, and welcome to our first episode of Codebreakers. We're so excited. We're the podcast where we break down complex tech topics and we inspire you to unlock your tech potential. I'm Fernisha. I'm super passionate about helping people understand and embrace the power of technology.
And I'm Anna, and I believe in the power of creative chaos to bring about clarity. Together, we're here to help you navigate the ever changing tech landscape with confidence and creativity.
And in today's episode, it's a super special Valentine's Day edition. We're diving super deep into the heart of entrepreneurship, loving your hustle and cultivating a positive mindset, a mindset for passion and perseverance.
We believe that success in business isn't just about strategy and execution, it's deeply intertwined with our mindset and the love we cultivate for our work, our customers, and ourselves.
And to kick things off, before we hop into the episode and start talking to our lovely guests, let's talk about the golden circle. It's a concept that's popularized by Simon Sinek in his book, Start With Why.
Absolutely. Sinek argues that successful leaders and organizations don't just focus on what they do or how they do it. They start with the why, the purpose, the cause, the belief that drives them.
Yeah, and when you find that why, that deep-seated passion for your work, it becomes the fuel that propels you through challenges and keeps you going with the things when things get tough.
In the book, Sinek emphasizes that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. They connect with your purpose and your passion.
And that resonated so deeply with us. When you love what you do, it's not just about making a living, it's about making a difference and creating something meaningful.
Exactly. It's about finding joy in the journey, celebrating small victories, and embracing the challenges as opportunities for growth.
We encourage you to explore these concepts further with us and hop in the chat. Send us a message. Put some input on what we're talking about. We love to hear from you.
And remember, even on the toughest days, never lose sight of your why.
Today, we have a very special guest joining us. We have your favorite cousin, Meesh West Co.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you for joining us, Mish.
Of course. Of
Mish
course,
is
of
the
course.
owner of Spill It with Mish, and she podcasts. Man, she has a lot of podcasts coming out, like weekly episodes. And they're full of in-depth conversation. She highlights businesses in the community, and she's very transparent about her business and her journey and where it's going and where she wants to see it going. So go ahead, give us a little bit about yourself, Mish, while I'm hyping you before we jump in here. Yes, drop your socials and all that good jazz.
Yeah, so again, like she said, my name is Meesh West Co. I am the owner of Spill It with Meesh podcast. Like she said, I highlight a lot in the community. I try to just kind of bring light to what we actually have here in Las Vegas. And I also want to bring transparency, like you said, just to the fact that this journey is not above anybody else. We all have the fundamentals. Sometimes it takes just a little bit of growth. Sometimes it takes just a little bit of mindset to actually get us there. So that's what I like to bring a little bit onto my podcast. Yeah, I've been dropping them weekly. Season 2 coming in hot. But yeah, so a little bit about me is I'm still kind of new to the podcast industry. I had a podcast before. It kind of fell through, and then I started this one. I feel like I am going to just kind of keep working. I want to bridge into some other things like film, but that's different, you know. Maybe a little bit of radio as well, maybe even clothes. So
Hmm.
just really on this business journey, trying to see where it goes.
Yeah. So like
Wonderful.
so like you and like Annalyn and myself, you have a lot of different passions and things going on outside of what your main thing is. And that fits perfectly into today's episode about loving your hustle. Because when we have all these different talents and different things we can pull from, like For one, how do you go, okay, this is what I'm going to spend most of my time on, and then just let these other ones just be like a maybe a hobby or something more calming and relaxing that you enjoy. And then because obviously you got to love what you do to go after.
Yeah.
Choose that thing you want to be the hobby and then that thing that you're going to go after. So, yeah, as we dive deeper into this conversation, I just want to ask both of you guys, what does it mean to love your hustle?
Okay, so first off, I think what it means to love my hustle is just to be able to enjoy what I do and enjoy the journey, enjoy the fact that I'm helping other business owners kind of thrive and build on a foundation to help them grow their business. And that is some of, what loving your hustle is about. It's just really loving what you do and what you do for the business community, and also having that personal, having that hobby to take a step back away from that hustle for a while, because we do understand that loving your hustle also is about loving yourself and how you can continue to motivate yourself and inspire yourself to do what you love.
Good answer. What about you, Mish?
Just to kind of piggyback on Adeline a little bit, it definitely is about loving yourself because it's not easy. It's not easy. Every day can try you, you know what I'm saying? But if you love exactly like she said, like if you love what you're doing, then you triumph through that. You know what I mean? Like there may be mornings or there may be afternoons where you're just like, oh my gosh, this is driving me insane. So yeah, what loving my hustle means, just to piggyback on Annalyn, it definitely means loving yourself. It means loving exactly what you do because every day it's trying. You wake up some days and you're completely still in love with what you're doing, and then there's some days you're waking up asking yourself, am I doing the right thing? So
Mm-hmm.
just understanding self-love through all of that. There's times I have to talk myself off a ledge, like, you've got purpose, like, all these people think you're their favorite cousin, like, you cannot let these people down. So just that in itself. And then I love the content I put out. Like, I never thought that, like, going into podcasting, I would feel like I love all of my content, but I absolutely love all of my content. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do I watch it and know that there's things that I could have worked on or did better? Obviously, but at the end of it all, I absolutely love my content. So, yeah.
For sure. I
How
love
about
that
you,
too. So
Anita?
for me, hustle, honestly, it is the ebbs and flows of the business, the goods, the bads, to look back and say, a year ago, I wasn't here. This isn't what it looked like. And then to see everything come to fruition, like that for me is like a huge part of loving your hustle, because those are all the reasons I think about. Like you said, some days you're talking yourself off of a ledge, and I think about all the moments where I just feel like, man, I am so tired, or like I really just want to prioritize me and what I want to do. But there's so many other reasons to keep going than there is to not go. Because
Nah.
I'm not doing anything else but getting older, spending money on pointless things. So I might as well invest that into my business, like invest it into me. So that's for
Yeah.
me is what it means to love your hustle.
That's great. That's great. And I know we really want to engage our audience here, all of the individuals who are watching today. We want to hear from you. What's your love language? And when it comes to your business, so share your thoughts in the comments below. What does it mean to love your hustle?
Yeah, for sure. So as we get deeper into that, how do you guys use passion as like a driving force between love and your hustle? So like if you're, for example, facing burnout, or like I just said, I'm like some days I'm just like I just instead of doing work, I just want to go home and just play with my kids or something. It might not necessarily be me just being tired. Sometimes I just want to be a normal everyday person and not this entrepreneur. Like what's your passion, like how does your passion for what you do keep you going?
I think the passion for what I do that keeps me going is the fact that I can wake up every day to be able to help somebody. But at the end of the day, I got to help myself fill my cup first. So if I get tired or exhausted, then that means my body's telling me, hey, I need to take a break. My brain is
Hmm.
kind of like, I need to take a break. I need to take a nap, a siesta, whatever you call it, right? Or maybe I just need to do some self-care that weekend. Maybe I need to do my toes or get my nails done or my hair
Yeah,
done,
for
whatever,
sure.
right? Maybe
For
I need to
sure.
put more time into myself, and then once I'm inspired enough after I got enough to rest and time for myself, now I'm ready to move again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Mish?
I don't want to keep piggybacking off Adeline, but like you're
What?
dropping gems.
Do it. Okay. We are here to have a authentic conversation. And I feel like that's what conversation is about. Like, you know what? I can relate to that. So I'm gonna piggyback.
Yeah. Yeah. So for sure, the self-care. Literally this past weekend, that's exactly what I did. Like I had to do my hair. I do all of my own services on top of being an entrepreneur. It's just a preference. But I do all the hair, eyelashes, nails, everything I do it myself. So I was kind of like getting like annoyed, like I've been putting it off for like weekends and weekends, and I'm like, I'm not feeling myself. Like I'm going
Mm-hmm.
into like now I'm like 3 weeks in, I'm not feeling myself. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna prioritize this self-care time. But while I was doing my nails, I wrote 3 new episodes for the podcast. So it's like bring it, the passion is there. It never goes away. But sometimes, like you said, you have to just prioritize yourself to be able to get over those hurdles. Like sometimes I go through writer's block and I don't understand where the writer's block is going from. It's like I have an
Mm-hmm.
idea, but why isn't there anything more than the idea? Like I can't even
Mm-hmm.
put together an image. Colors aren't coming to me right
Yeah.
now. Like what's going on? I'm not prioritizing myself. So I think that's where I know the passion is it's just there. It's in my heart,
Yeah.
I can't stray far away from it, but there is times where my mind's like, hey, we need some less time.
You need to
We
rest.
need to prioritize us. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that. Like the passion being the driving force, it is definitely already there. It's what I do. Like I said, I live, eat, and breathe what I do so much to where it's all I know how to talk about. I'm sure people get sick of me talking about some educated something, and it might not be about marketing or web design specifically, but for me, it's really when I get in those creative blocks for feeling stagnant or any of those things. I like to connect with like-minded individuals, in a room with people like me and people like Anna Lynn, and let's just talk. Let's talk about everything under the sun. What are you interested in? What are you doing right now? Like, and it gets my mind going. And it's like, you know what? Maybe I need to do that a little bit more. And maybe I can implement some of that into my life. Just being around good vibes for me, like that drives my passion. And not just good vibes, aligned good vibes
I
for
love
me.
that you said that.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that you said that. Aligned like minds because you could be in a room full of nonsense and that'll mess you up worse than before you walked in there. You're like, oh my
You
gosh,
already
now
know it's
I'm drained.
nonsense. You already know it's nonsense. You just feel it. You just walk in and like,
You just feel it. You're like, oh, this is not for me.
That look, Annalyn, that'd be me. Like, what?
What are we doing here?
Have you rethinking your whole life? Well, maybe what I'm
I
doing already. Maybe this isn't so bad over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me get us back on track. So,
self-love and entrepreneurship.
okay, that's where we are. Moving into self-love and entrepreneurship. As Annalyn already touched on, like it's highly overlooked as an entrepreneur. I know I go hours sometimes just sitting in front of this computer. In the past, like I've gotten better. Before I sit down in the morning, I know I got to get my super greens, my green juice in. Um, I got to get some protein in. So I've been making a habit to eat like the tuna snack packs, some tuna and crackers, with some cheese and probably some nuts. Breakfast isn't my favorite part of the day. I want food as soon as I wake up. So, um, it's been times where I'll just sit here and just work and work and work, and I look up and it's 5 o'clock, and I've skipped lunch and dinner.
I've done that.
Um, uh-huh. So
Done that.
how do you guys continue to say, okay, I need to love on myself in all these ways. If I don't do these things, then I'm not going to be able to do this, this, and that. Because, Mish, you and I was just talking about brain fog this morning, and
Yeah.
eating and sleeping is a huge part of that.
Yes.
Yeah. And sometimes you realize that sometimes if you go too much, or you thin yourself out and overexert yourself on multiple projects, and you're not focused on the one main thing, you start to make mistakes. You start to make mistakes, and you see those mistakes, and you're like, oh my gosh, all right, I'm falling apart. I need to do something. So now you have to prioritize, like, what tasks are you going to be focusing on? You got to take a step back to think about that. You can't just like jump into the next thing. So that's what's really, really important. Self-compassion is definitely key to this as well. And it's like you said, prioritizing your self-care is very important. Especially as an entrepreneur. Me as a solopreneur, I have clients I deal with, I have contractors, so I have to stay on project and on topic, and it's exhausting. It is very, very exhausting. So instead of me just jumping to one thing to another, I have to literally schedule everything on my calendar, and schedule like, hours apart of just basically self-care, of just taking a break.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually at the end of the week is when I usually do it, because I go starting Monday. Once Wednesday hits, start to slow down. So
Yeah.
you roll into that weekend like it's
Hmm. Love that. Love that. So, how do you prioritize self care?
I am still learning how to prioritize self-care. I don't know until my body is at its wit's end with me.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't find myself, I will find myself, like my work ethic, like you said, like I'm making mistakes, like I'll be running late to work, or I'm just completely unprepared on content day when I've planned it, and you know what I mean? Like I'm like tripping over it. We're going take after take, and it's like I'm starting to get annoyed now. Like, what am I doing with myself? I
Mm-hmm.
also have lupus, so I will go through having a flare up. And my flare ups will sit me down. Like my flare up will make me prioritize the
Mm-hmm.
rest because I won't be able to walk or stand too long. My hands will swell up, so then I can't use them. So it's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
learning still. I've gotten a lot better with managing the flare ups, managing putting my body through too much stress to where I'm actually getting the flare-ups, but I still don't know when like to put my phone down. Like my
Yeah.
producer will text me like at 6 a.m. like, why were you still up at 3? And I'm like, I was just fixing the title. Sorry, I should have been up. I know, I know.
Yeah. Well, as much as I try to prioritize my self care too. But at the same time, I have plenty of more minutes. Like I was just up telling Anna Lynn yesterday, I was up at like 3 in the morning because I didn't get much work done the other night. Working on the workshop deck for this weekend, and also trying to get ahead of everything so I don't have to work on the workshop decks that's coming up. So right now, I'm like working on 3 workshop decks in tandem sessions, 4, 5, and 6. But also, I already have everything kind of mapped out because I didn't put past me always works for future me. That's the way that I think about it. Past me always works
That's
for
a good
future
concept.
me. I get so much done to where I'll be like, I can take a day. I can take this many hours. I can do the, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh man, this is tomorrow. Let me get in here and go ahead and seal all this stuff up because I knock out so much stuff. So I think for me, I prioritize self care a little bit too much sometimes. I color. That's part of my self care routine. I
I've been trying to
game.
find time to pick up my book. Like, I literally have been physically buying books so that I can prioritize time to pick them up. I'm still, and they're right here. They're like
Mhm.
right here.
And see,
I
I
feel like
read. I'll try to get a
once I'm in that state of joy, it's like, oh right, I'm ready to go do this project. Like
Yeah.
yeah. Uh huh.
the best feeling ever is when you
Yeah.
notice it. You're like, oh, I feel so good. Maybe I should start on this project now. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
you want to get
Yeah.
into it, get it done right
For
away.
sure.
So when that day comes that you've actually listed that task for that day, you're like, oh, it's already mostly done.
Yeah,
I can take
for
it easy.
sure.
I need to work on that. Like just
Yeah,
doing a little bit, little bit, little bit.
So
a
I know
little bit a day.
everyone definitely has a different way of you know, how they feel overwhelmed in their business, and there's different ways that they create sort of like a practice for their self-care. For our basically for our audience, share your tips in the comments. You know, share with us what are some great self-care practices that you created for yourself.
Hmm.
I think I just spit there. I don't know.
No, no,
Okay.
that was perfect. I love it for your customers. Now, this
Building
is
that
a
genuine connection with your clients. So it's very
yeah.
important to me because I love hearing their feedback and seeing how our work has impacted their lives. And that's what's important, because once you've impacted them once, I've had clients where they were like, wow, you do great work, and I'm not able to get your service now. But then 2 years
Hmm.
later, they're in that part of the journey where they reach out to me and said, okay, I'm ready. Let's do our website.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, when I work with people, they're with me for life. You know what I mean? They are with me for life. And I let them know. I, you know, send them a text message here and there. Hey, how's it going? Hope your business is doing well. Hope your
Yeah.
family's really well. I touch points, you know, I follow up and like, let me know if you need to pick my brain for anything. You know, I'm always here. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Oh, I love
So
it.
they know that they have me in their back pocket. Just give me a call. Like, hey, I've got some tech stuff that I don't understand, and I want to get your, you know, get your insight on it. And I'm like, great, let's talk.
Yeah, for sure. You know, having that good feedback from our clients is really what gets us motivated. And even when we have had some creative blocks. Mish, how do you focus on building those genuine connections with your clients and people who come on your podcast?
So for me, I try to make sure I establish their backgrounds. A lot of my customers currently are people I grew up with. So a lot of them have kind of always
Wait,
known
sorry.
me.
Before you go too far, how do you prioritize their needs and while setting boundaries also for your business and yourself? Sorry, let me
Okay.
add that in part. Uh-huh.
No worries, no worries. Oh, that's good. That's a good spin.
Yeah.
So, like Annalyn and I were just talking about, just, I'm sorry, not Annalyn, you and I were talking. And then, so I just, all of them usually feel like they know me, and so they want to give me their input, and I love that. You know what I mean? I love that I'm creating a personable role for
Hmm.
them. I do reference myself and them as my cousins, and we're each other's cousins. So just creating that safe space there. But the boundary being set is that essentially, like, when it comes down to my business, this is my business. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, this is my niche. This is my practice. I'm definitely willing to hear things out, but at the end of it all, I do have the final say so. And again, my platform is just creating that transparency to also let them know your ideas might be better fit on your own podcast, or you know what I mean, or for another podcast, but not specifically mine. But I hear you. I'm willing to accept you. So sometimes I just have to have that boundary for myself, because I can find myself like talking off the deep end, and then people will be like, "Yeah, I want to come in as your co-host." And I'm like, "No, what happened? No, 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 no. We're not. Hold on. I missed something. I might have said a few too many times. My bad.
Yeah.
Back it up. We're not
This
not a
is Spill It
co-host for
with
this one.
Mish.
Yeah, not for this, not for this, not for this, but definitely maybe later on. I do
Hmm.
love the suggestion though. I do. I love them.
And
Yeah.
boundaries are really good to have because, you know, I've run into, you know, me starting off as an entrepreneur just by myself, no team, nothing. You know, I've run into so many clients because I keep saying yes to every single client. And I know
Hmm.
that not every single client's going to be right for me, and not all of them are going to be right. I'm not going to be right for them. So that's one thing that I've actually had to learn over and over again, is that sometimes I take in clients that are demanding they're hard to communicate with. Maybe we bump heads about certain things because they want it this way, and I'm recommending that they could do it this way. So there's so many different things when it comes to communication with the technology part of it, because they don't understand the whole back end side of the technology, and I do. And when they say, well, can we do this, and I can't do it, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
where do we go from there? Maybe I'm not the right
No.
maybe I'm not the right developer or designer for you. Maybe I need to call somebody else and be like, maybe you need to meet this person.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's so funny because boundaries are so important no matter where you work at. We're talking about it as entrepreneurs, but my sister just gave me a ring when we were, and she had a completely different situation yesterday where someone called and they weren't getting the text message to their phone to verify the account. And they're at the airport, and the person is like, well, I need you to make it work. That is not within her job duties. Like she works for Clear and for the airport. She does not work for your phone company and cannot force a text message to get received to your
To
phone.
get to you.
You're at an airport.
Walk outside.
Exactly.
Like
Like
walk outside.
establishing those boundaries are like super important. I don't care where you are, what type of business you work, establish those boundaries. Whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur and your own business owner, establishing boundaries will let you know if you need to be working for that company or not, and if you need to be working for that client or not.
Exactly. I mean, if you're somewhere like let's say you're at a funeral and they're like, "Well, we need this website changed now," and you already told them a week ahead, I'm going to be at my dad's funeral or something like that. Just something that you can't really drop everything that you're doing right now just to help that specific customer. There's got
Yeah.
to
I
be
work
understanding.
in car finance, so you guys can imagine how that goes. Everyone's financed a car before, right? So you've got
Hmm.
fast talking salesmen, you got people that think because I'm a woman, I don't know what I'm talking about. I
Hmm.
had one of my car salesmen literally say to me, I'm not going to finance another deal with you until you release my funds. But his funds were on hold because he didn't give me the title. Don't finance the deal. I don't care. That's your customer walking out. Like,
You
that's up
literally
to
have
you, buddy.
people, you have people who want to try to force you to do things that are not within
That,
your wheelhouse. And you have to set those clear boundaries. And for me, it's really just mapping out that contract and setting those boundaries in that contract right up front. I am one person running a business and I'm a consultant. So I don't have a whole team popping out marketing strategies. You are also not my only client. So I have to set those boundaries to be able to say, okay, these are the days that I take off that are non-negotiable. If I have an emergency with my kids, it's non-negotiable. I'm leaving whatever I'm doing to go deal with them. Like having those things laid out. I go on vacation. If I'm pulling on a new client, I'm letting them know all of these dates have already been mapped for vacation time. So just setting those expectations right up front with
And it's that
people
tough
and
love.
having some, for sure,
Sometimes
for
you got to
sure.
give them
yeah,
that tough love.
I promise you will love working with me even more if you
Yeah, and
just.
you love your customers enough to where, like, if you love your customers enough and they respect that about you and you respect them, it's like, if I can't do something for you, I love you enough to where I can hand this project over to someone that I know can do for you and is dependable enough.
Hmm.
So that's
hmm
how
Hmm.
loving your customer is about too as well.
hmm
For sure, 100% agree. Because we got people in our um, wheelhouse to where I can say, "Hey, Annalyn, I'm going to be out this weekend. I got this client that needs something done on their website, and I know I can trust Annalyn to get it done. She's all about processes and workflows and making sure that that person is happy. I don't have to. There's no second doubt and second guess in my mind for sure. And thinking about them, making sure that they said, even though you self-caring."
yeah.
Maybe they need
And
help
we're setting those boundaries.
to self-care. That's why they're grumpy.
Yeah,
They probably, yeah, because a lot of the people we work with are entrepreneurs themselves and are not self-caring and are not setting those boundaries. And hell, if you breaking my boundaries, what makes me think that you're not letting other people break your boundaries?
That makes a
Huh.
lot of sense.
So, yes, it does.
You think getting a little bit deeper there for us, Phoenicia.
So I'm a code breaker.
Breaking that code. So we're moving on to love of for the process, right? This is like my
Yeah.
favorite part of being an entrepreneur is just having
Yeah.
the process.
Annalyn's like drool right now.
Was drool coming out of my hair?
No.
Okay. You said she loves her processes, so yes.
Yeah,
I do too, though.
don't
I
have
ain't
a
gonna
process
lie.
if you don't have a system, which is really part of your process. If you don't have a system, your business isn't running the way it should be. Because I see my business as sort of a machine, or like your car, the engine. You got to oil it. You got to make sure all of the parts are moving efficiently. Because without it, if
Hmm.
I didn't have my calendar, I don't know how I'd even show up for this podcast. I'd
Yeah.
be sitting there
Yeah.
eating lunch, watching TV, and totally the time's gone by me already. I'm like, oh crap, I was supposed to be at a podcast.
Yeah.
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 Totally. For sure. I've learned to find the joys in the daily grind, just celebrating the small wins and completing the checklist. We were talking about in the workshop how completing the checklist go along with just that, how
Yeah.
fulfilling it is.
Yeah.
So,
Daily
you know,
task list.
yes, getting that positive feedback from my checklist to say at the end of the day, saying, I had 10 items on here and I only had two left that I have to carry over till to tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what are some small victories you guys celebrate? And how do you, in your process, I'm going to say, in your process, I know, Mish, you have told me you are still in the beginning of things. But I mean, you got a lot of episodes. You have a lot of episodes. You in season two. You have to have some sort of process that you are loving in order for you to
I
even get here.
Yeah, I do. I very much am still in the beginning phases, but like Annalyn said, if it's not a process in place, your business isn't going to thrive how it's supposed to. At the beginning, I was a wreck. No calendar, no script. Like I literally just winging it. Like, and I'm like, is it 20 minutes? Are we at 30 minutes? Do I cut? I don't know.
No
So
timer.
I was just like, yeah. And then it's just like I had my lovely producer. He came in and he's like, yeah, you've got a good thing here, but you need some structure. Let me come in, let me help you, and he just held me accountable for like my parts versus like his parts and not boggling myself down with all of it. So just having those processes in place, like for sure, like writing a script and doing a run of show have literally set the tone. I'm using my calendar a little bit more now. I am scheduling things in advance. I'm scheduling deadline dates for myself and my content, like for promo, just making sure I'm housing things together. I'm starting to get a little bit more organized with how I'm actually filing and keeping my work. I'm definitely reaping the benefits of it now. That's why you guys are able to see the weekly episodes. We've actually got down to where we can put out an episode every week, which that is a big victory for us because it wasn't this consistent when I first started.
No, I
I
get
mean,
it.
that's a testament to growth, though. You go from looking like one thing to looking like something completely different, and you can look back
Yeah.
and go, "Man, I'm really proud.
Yeah, I am. I am. I love it.
I'm happy for you,
Did
Mish."
I fully answer that question? Thank you so much.
Yes, you did.
And
You
Okay.
that's a
answered.
great process. I mean, what a great process to have. I feel that if you have a podcast, and you ask your audience a question and ask them for feedback, or they share something, maybe part of that process is really just recognizing and acknowledging those comments that are in the podcast comments, right?
Yeah.
So maybe creating
Yeah.
me and Phoenicia was talking about this, creating another episode after your episode to speak on the things that they've commented in the comments.
I recently just did that. I did it too late for one of my episodes, but that is something my producer and I just actually implemented last night. that I'm going to start recapping the episode just to kind of give it a sum up, to
Mm-hmm.
kind of throw in some of those comments. I've been recently trying to engage more like on the story, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
adding that in. Yeah, it's, still in its working phases, still finding a structure that I love. So I
Always room
love
for
that. Thank
improvement.
you.
Always room for
Yes,
improvement.
always room, always.
No,
Never
for
stop
sure, for
growing.
sure.
Never stop growing.
Always. Okay, so with that being said, what advice would you give aspiring entrepreneurs about loving the process and celebrating small wins?
Put your content out and love your content. If you don't get one like, love your content. Leave it there. Do not take it down. And keep putting it out. That is going to establish a passion for what you're doing because if nobody else is loving this, you do. So
Mm-hmm.
in your beginning phases, when you are putting out content, you do have to understand it's not going to be liked by everybody. You have to find your audience. So,
Mm-hmm.
understanding that you have a passion for what you're talking about, what you're doing, what the true intention is behind it is going to keep you going. There is times where I look at my views and I'm like, wow, you guys didn't like that, I will go reshare that. I will go take it down and repost that same
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like, I was like, I'll be like, oh, maybe it wasn't the right time. Like,
But
I
maybe
will
it
repost that
wasn't.
content. Yeah,
Okay. What's that TikTok sound? All this work and what did it get
this,
me?
yeah, it
Yeah,
got
that's
me to
always that way.
repost it again. And
Even
then,
those
like,
2 to 3 people that like that content, just reach out to
yeah,
them and be like, hey, I'm glad you like my content. Can you share it with
yes,
other people?
that's exactly what I do. I literally will go and find a post that didn't do well, and I will send it to 50 people in their inbox. I will send it to 50 more people, and I'll say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, if you could, even just thank you for taking the time out to read my message. If you could, like and share this for me. If you don't, there's no hard feelings. I still love you. Maybe this wasn't the right opportunity for you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe share this with someone that will resonate. I do
Mm-hmm.
always ask my cousins for their input and their help with reaching milestones. I'm on my road to 1,000 followers for Instagram. I literally let them know, like, hey guys, I'm still, thank you guys, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I literally let them know, like, guys, I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers. I know it's not big for many, but like, I'm just trying to get there. Can you help me? People be like, no way. Like, heck yeah, I'm gonna try to get you there. I'm surprised you're not there already. I'm like, me too, but help me, help me.
No,
Then
So they
serious.
love
once
it.
you get there, then you can celebrate with a TikTok, you dancing and stuff, do your
Yes,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do a giveaway. I'm gonna do a giveaway when I reach my 1,000 followers. So I haven't
Yes.
told my fans
incentive.
about
Actually,
that yet.
that's a
So
good idea to get those
Well,
incentives to just get people. Hey,
you guys
fans,
heard
you
it
guys
first
know
here,
she's going to be
cousins.
giving giveaways, cousins.
I'm
Y'all
gonna be
need to
doing
go ahead and
giveaways.
get her followers up the sooner y'all
Yeah,
get those followers up, the sooner this giveaway is going to happen, cousins.
yes, yes, yes. I have some really
behind
fun
mystery
things
door
in it.
3.
Literally, literally. I want them to pick a box or something. I don't know.
Well, it is Valentine's Day, so this is me showing you guys that she loves her brand. She literally loves her hustle. She's talking about doing a giveaway, okay, on her podcast for you guys, for the people who are following her. So she's hit just with those things, hit a lot of the markers that we've talked about already. Loving the passion, loving the customers, and setting those boundaries. Like, you do this, I'll do that for you guys. Like, even
But I love you guys.
yeah. So we here for all of that.
And don't forget the love and business partnerships, because that's going to be important in the next segment, right?
I
Because
was just
Yes,
gonna say that. Yep. Come on,
yes.
Annalyn. Yes.
you can't
Yes.
do everything on your own, or else you'll exhaust yourself. You'll have way too much self care going on by that time.
Yeah. I tell my
Not
producer
enough.
every time we record, I'm like, in about 2.5 years, 3 years tops, all we're going to be doing is showing up to this. Like, nothing else would have been done by us but show up.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I was
Manifest
like,
that.
yeah.
as we come
Perfect.
into this, and you have been talking about your producer off and on throughout this segment, love and business partnerships is the next topic we're going to talk about. Yeah. Annalyn, you want to?
I think, yeah, collaborating
Yeah.
with other entrepreneurs has been incredibly rewarding for me. And it's really about who you know and how dependable they are, the business relationships that you create. Sometimes it can tie into something that happens for you in the future. New ventures can come out of it. Like when me and
Mhm.
Phoenicia first met and we connected and we resonated, and every conversation we had each time afterwards was just like very, very refreshing. It's very rewarding
Mhm.
and refreshing at the same time, because it's almost like having a partner. Having a partner in this podcast, having a partner that I can, send maybe referrals to if I can't help a client and she can. Having that
Mhm.
type of partnership is very, very important. I have a partnership with a web development team in Sri Lanka. I have a partnership with a virtual assistant in the Philippines, and they're both entrepreneurs. They're people that I depend on after hours when I so
Mhm.
I don't have to work those
Mhm.
16, 24 hours a day.
Okay.
I hand it over and be like, "Hey, can you do this?
Oh,
It's due tomorrow. I'm gonna go to bed." So
yes,
being
so
able
much.
to have that confidence in my business to know that things are still going to get done even without me in the picture is so rewarding and is so refreshing
Yeah.
at the same time. So find those partnerships. Those partnerships are very, very important.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We have we've been fortunate enough, like she said, to build this relationship. And I know there are a lot of long nights with just you, where it's just you in front of the computer. As I said, I was just up till 3 in the morning and it was nobody but me. House quiet, kids sleep, husband sleep. But in order to grow your ecosystems and to grow your business, you need other people. Nobody truly is successful on their own. So, with that being said, how important are strong, supportive relationships in your journey, Mish?
I think they're very important just because, like you guys said, you can't do it all. When I first started the podcast journey, I was overwhelming myself with every task of it, being the creative behind it, being the producer behind it, being the editor behind it, being the researcher behind it, being the writer. Like, it was like I put so much into just getting the content done, then sitting to produce it and edit it afterwards that would be my deal breaker. I'd be like, I don't even want to. Like, I don't want to sit and do all of this. So
Mm-hmm.
then when I went this go around, I did the capital readiness workshop, and that is what got my mind to understand this isn't like just because I want to go into it solo now doesn't mean that I can still do all the work because I can't. So I've always had a friend that was into film and into producing and stuff like that. So I just kind of reached out to him like, hey, I want to start this over again. I want to take a completely different approach. Can you help me with structure? Is what I asked him. I was like, help me structure, assist me with apps. He's like, I'll produce the whole thing.
Okay. Yep.
What do I need to
Yep.
do? I was like, what? I was like, what do you need from me? And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, just let me know when we're recording, let me know what the topics are so I can put together a format. He asked me a rough few questions, and we've been rocking ever since.
Yes.
I produced the first two
Yes.
episodes on my own, guys. That was not his work, but since then, it's all been his work.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, so just understanding like the task at hand was going to be larger than I could facilitate on my own, and I didn't want it to flop again. I feel like I was just starting things and
You
I wasn't
learned
going to
from
finish them.
your
My
previous
first, yeah,
podcast. Uh-huh.
I did.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs about building and nurturing valuable partnerships and also when choosing a partner? Because, you can't do business with everybody.
No, you cannot. So I'll start with advice. So the advice I would give is just like I said, don't feel like you can facilitate all parts. You still have to think about yourself. You still have to prioritize yourself. And I talk about myself a lot just because I don't have kids, whereas Franisha has younger children, you know what I mean? You have to prioritize you, your work. Sometimes this isn't all we're doing is just being entrepreneurs. Sometimes we're still
Mm-hmm.
clocking in. So
Mm-hmm.
having the mental capacity to be able to facilitate all of those factors, essentially, you don't want to burn out. You don't want to crash out. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want to keep starting things and not finishing them, because that can also put you in a gloomier mindset. So you don't want that. And then just choosing the right people. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. You're I'm a very spiritual person, so your body will tell you when you don't like something. For your mind to even
Mm-hmm.
second guess rather you want to work with or if this may be a good fit, that might be something you need to reassess on a different
Mm-hmm.
time frame. So I definitely listen to my heart. And like I said, I'm very spiritual. It will almost make me throw up if something is not for me. So,
No, for sure. Okay, heavy.
I get that
yeah, my body will
stomach
be
and
like,
then I start
whoa,
walking away and it starts to
yes.
disappear and I'm like, all
Or like
right,
my
something's
palms
up
get
over there.
sweaty. I'm like, what happened over there? Like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, or
No, I
dry
get it.
heaving.
Yeah.
I need something to drink now. What's going on?
Yeah.
It's gonna stay away from you over there.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to, I guess when it comes to really building and nurturing those partnerships, like you have to really, be in touch with that person's individual expertise because not everyone can do what you want them to do. Sometimes they're
Mm-hmm.
good and they love what they do on their own. So kind of nurture them in a way to nurture their type of talent within the
Mm-hmm.
industry. Is like I said, I could do social media, I could do email marketing and all this other stuff, but it's not where I'm passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can
Yeah,
do it, but I don't love doing it. So maybe
yeah,
that individual might be really good at email marketing and they love it. And I was like, well,
yeah,
shoot, there you go. That's where you're gonna be. So
yeah,
that's really what how to nurture and really don't devalue your partners because that is
yeah.
one thing you don't want to do. That could be a really big mistake on your end. Always know that they are valuable in their own way. And it took me a while to kind of let go of certain things. I was always in control of things. But once I let go of something and it starts to make me
Uh-huh.
good because that person's doing the job and I'm like, yes,
Yeah. See,
I I
that's
think
for
that's
sure.
important too. Like you said, sorry, Fran. Like I just wanted to touch on her valuing her partner.
Mm-hmm.
I I treat my producer like his time is more precious than mine. So I don't like to inconvenience him at all. Like if I'm all over the place, super apologetic, he'll probably tell me a million times like it's fine, it's cool. And I'm like, I know, but I swear I'm not trying to take up your whole day. Like he's like, girl, it's fine. Like my day is reserved for this. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
you're
I'll
being
calm
considerate
down.
and that's great and that's a whole nother conversation that you and your producer can have. It's like, look,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
because at the end of the day it's something like, look, here are my dates, let's get together and see where our times, our schedules can kind of align. And that's
Hmm.
very,
Mm-hmm.
very important because if you don't have that conversation, he's going to think one thing and you're going to think one thing and then all of a sudden it falls apart. So I've seen
Yeah.
Exactly.
it happen so
And
many
then
times.
this isn't a we're gonna get together for an hour type of content either that you're putting together. So
No, we batch
like it's
record.
one thing, yeah, it's one thing for, you guys to get there and, maybe you rushing and having a day or whatever. But for you to just like there's an understanding there that there's technical difficulties that are going to arise. So, for you guys to kind of collaborate and continue to work them. Heck, we had a whole slew of technical difficulties before we ever
Yeah,
Yes.
started this today.
yeah.
Things that we have been trying to prepare for days now, and it,
The
it
Nothing
universe
just
is
can
like,
prepare
nope,
you
uh,
this
for
isn't
day
the
of.
time. Nope, this isn't the person. Yep, pivot, next
Yeah,
person, next.
yeah.
yeah. So I think that is another important part to finding your partners. Having someone who, like, yes, we are all control freaks in our own way. We all like to control our businesses and the part of the business we want to control, but also knowing that what we do is fun. it should be carefree and easygoing, even with the structure that we're talking about, and being thoughtful of other people's times and what they have to do. But when you have those partners who really support you and really want to see you thrive, we're gonna knock our heads together. We're gonna
Yeah.
figure this out together. We're gonna, like you said, your producer is gonna be like, you know what, Mish, I know you're not trying to do this.
He
It
tells
ain't
me
like you
all the
just,
time. He'll be like,
yeah,
go take a walk because I see. He'll be
yeah.
like, I'll put this up. Don't worry, I'll get set up. You go take a walk. Calm down.
There's a difference between like your life constantly being in shambles and you never have something together, and I'm just having a day today.
Hmm.
And those the people who know you understand that you're just having a day today. And I think that's very important when dealing with your partnerships, whether it's somebody super close to you or just a business that you met. Like me and Annalyn, we met because someone I already knew was like, man, you should really meet Annalyn. I'm going to connect you guys. You guys are like the same person. I, I met her. We hopped on a phone call, and then I was like, like she said, we spoke. We met again. Then we ran into each other at a networking event that same
That
week, and
sealed the
I was like,
deal.
"Hey, yeah, like, hey, Web Kitty, yeah, it really
I
did."
love that.
And then we got on another call and was like, you know what? We have these genuine back and forth conversations. Let's start a podcast and where we
Oh,
can
I
just
love that.
talk, and let's just talk, and how can we monetize this, and how can we? And it's just grown from there.
And creating
Having
valuable information for others that don't normally listen to podcasts. Maybe we can get them started. Who knows, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
love
then on
that.
the end where Annalyn is like, nurturing what your partner does and nurturing what they're already loving to do and not trying to change that is important as well, because this is the first time I haven't had to. Every project I've worked on, I've done the website for, from mine on to everybody else's, and Annalyn is handling the website this time.
She
I'm
does
doing
the
social
design.
media.
Yeah, she does all
I'm
the
doing
designs, all the creative stuff. And I'm like, I love what she
like
did with all the colors for the podcast. I'm like, that was exactly what I was thinking in my head too. I was like, there's got to
Oh,
be
I
some
love it.
purples and some pinks and some blues in
uh,
there, like something that kind of just flashes Phoenicia and Annalyn.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and it's bright and it's fun and it's poppy. It showcases us. So honestly, between this partnership with Anna Lynn and Codebreakers and my partnership with Daphne and Blossom and my partnership with myself, like I'm loving all the people in my circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I love that.
eventually Mish will get there.
Dude,
We already working on things,
Yeah.
but how do we just figure the longer you are dealing with someone, the more you'll see how you align. And because I'm heavy on, I don't like how that person works. I can like you all day as a friend.
But I don't
If
like
I
your
don't like
work
the way you
ethic.
work, yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not going there. You can be
Yeah.
mad at me for not even looking your way and saying, "Hey, come on my podcast." I don't like the way that you work, and that's just it.
Yeah. And again, that's about like being able to decipher like is that partnership going to be worth it? Because like you said, we can be the best of friends. Like we can be so cool beyond this, but the way I feel about my business, no.
We won't be friends.
yeah.
No, we won't be friends because this is like we talked about, these are our passions, these are our babies. Like no, 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 no.
Uh-huh.
And it'll just
Yeah.
and that'll be that on that.
All right. This has been a very good conversation. And to end us out, man, to close us out, we have a burning desire question for you. And so, if you could go back in time and give your younger entrepreneurial self one piece of Valentine's Day inspired advice, what would it be?
Post that content sooner. Post it sooner.
I wonder if the likes will be different, right?
Yeah. Oh, I for sure would be like one of those TikToker billionaires living in the
Yeah. I
this
tell you
personality back then. Come on.
exactly. And just having those thoughts, like I've had so many thoughts that I wish that I wanted to share on a video to my timeline and I didn't share it and it just goes away and that inspiration's gone. And I'm like, why didn't I put that out? Because that was just perfect.
Do
In
you
the
know what I started doing? I started taking video notes. because your video notes will save. And so you can go back and hear that, save that audio, throw it over a reel. Now we have it, you
Or
know?
just have that
Yeah.
clip that you can just throw in there for your next podcast episode, you know?
Yeah. You're like, I
Yeah.
don't have
Right.
any talking points. Let me see what I got in this archive.
Those talking
I
point
like that.
videos in it.
I love to go back and refer in a whole bunch of data that I forgot about.
And it's
Yeah.
usually on the go, right? You could be at a
Yeah.
Walmart checkout and be like, oh my God, I gotta talk about this.
Walmart's usually the place.
No, okay, seriously, you need to follow Mish Annalyn because she all in her car, like she's definitely
Yeah.
podcasting, okay?
Yeah, let's
She's
let's
definitely
definitely
podcasting.
share the link in the in our description for sure, because that's gonna be something we want to make sure that she reaches her 1,000 views.
Thank
Yes, yes.
you. Thank you. Thank
Yes, we
you.
do. All right, you guys. So, man, this has been such a great conversation. I'm like speechless because, Mish, we already shoot the breeze and talk when we see each other, but it was really good to kind of dive in and get it up into I'm all nosy.
Yeah.
I like to see the inner workings of things.
Getting everyone's perspective on it and everything. So insights are
Yeah.
always
Yes,
right.
for
I
sure.
really appreciate you guys for having me on today. This is my first podcast. Like, being that I have a podcast, I probably should have been on, more, but I'm
Yeah.
so glad that this was the first one. I feel like this really set the tone for podcasts I do want to be involved in,
Hmm.
conversations I do want to have, and it's even sparked my own gears to grind for my own podcast. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you ladies.
Thank you
Man,
for
it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure for sure.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, we hope this Valentine's Day episode inspired you to continue to love your hustle, continue to keep passion as a driving force in your everyday, to celebrate those small wins, to set those freaking boundaries, no matter who it is, your mama, your daddy, your baby, your cousin, your husband.
and have
Set
boundaries.
those boundaries.
Yes. And don't forget to show yourself some love this Valentine's Day.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Bye.